Work-life balance is not a 50-50 thing. I tried it. For 15 years, I tried creating this so-called balance that everybody's trying to seek between work and life. And trust me, it got me to a place where I was more stressed, unfulfilled, depressed, and just hating life. If you want to learn more about how it is not a 50-50 balance and how it is all about creating your own unique rhythm, stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing 5 things that you must do if you want to create more fulfillment, more happiness, more joy in your life. Hey, my friend, welcome back. Danie here, the Peace Teacher, and I am here sharing another video about how to help you honor your best self. Today, we are talking about balance and how it is not a 50-50 thing. Let's chat a little bit about what it really is. You see, we each have our own rhythm and our own season. In our lives, there are certain times where certain things are going to take precedent. For example, if you are a college student who just graduated, you are starting your career, work is probably going to be a priority for you. On the other hand, if you are somebody who has, children at home, who is now bringing in mom to take care of because she needs some extra help, your priority might shift a bit to mom and giving her that extra attention. Or maybe you are in a new relationship, and so that relationship is where your priority becomes. Or maybe even you're starting a new business, and this business is getting off the ground, and in order to do that, your priority needs to be this new business. This is the rhythm that you are currently in your life, and it has its own priorities. So with this rhythm, this is also a season, a time. As we know, seasons only last for a short amount of period, and then we enter a new season. That's what our seasons do. We have things change, we have things adjust, right? I was working with a client recently whose daughter went off into college, and now it's just her husband and her, and they are starting to learn how to live together again without having this third person here. Completely change the home environment. So we are in our own unique rhythms and our own unique season. So when we talk about having a 50-50, you can't have it. As a matter of fact, what happens for most of us is we put work as a priority and we try to put home life as a priority, and they tend to battle each other. And we end up feeling guilty when we're at work, or we end up feeling, sad when we're not at work and we're supposed to be with our family. But what ends up happening is we're thinking about the other thing while we're with the other thing, right? So it's about learning what season you're in and how to adjust with that. It is not a 50-50 thing, because if we even look at work and life, right? Our family, our home, where is the me time? It's one of the things that I did for a long time is I put work and family and I tried to make them as equal as I possibly could, but then I was left out of the picture. So when we look at creating our own unique rhythm, we are looking at, for one, putting ourselves back in, and number two, focusing on what it really is that it's important to us for this particular season. All right, so I've got 5 things that you must do to step into creating your own unique rhythm in your season. Number 1, and this is probably the most important, take care of and nurture you. You cannot accomplish anything if you are unhealthy, if you are run down, if you are stressed out. Are we really providing the attention that we need at our highest? Probably not. So we must make sure that we are carving out that time for us and making ourselves a priority. And lady, It doesn't have to be big. A lot of people think it has to be this big spa day or this big thing. It doesn't. It can be super small. It can be getting up 10 minutes earlier than the rest of the family to enjoy the peace and calm and quiet before the chaos begins, right? Small, tiny little things make such a big difference. So make sure that you are doing the things that you want to do and that are nurturing your soul, your mind, and your body. Number 2, know what your priorities are. We often trying to cram in all the things, and we really need to look at what is the most important thing, what is the number one priority right now. Let's look at an example where maybe your older kids have went off into college, but you still have one or more little ones still at home. Now your attention has maybe shifted to this younger one, this younger child of yours, where they're getting a lot more of your attention and your focus is a lot more on them. Or maybe your priority changed to the relationship between you and your spouse. Maybe you guys are learning more about each other because you have some extra time now where you're not having to worry about the other two kids as much anymore. Or maybe this is the time where you're focusing on a hobby that really has become possibly a business that you want to begin. Or maybe you are indeed starting a business and that is going to be the priority. You see, you got to figure out what is the number one thing that you're focusing on right now. It doesn't mean you're ignoring all the other things. It's just that you know that in this time, this is a number one priority for me. I have a client who these last 3 months of the year are her prime time for business. So she is working 24/7 pretty much to, meet all of her clients and, do all the paperwork and all the things that she needs to do. And she also has a little one. So for a long time, she felt so guilty because these 3 months she wasn't able to spend with her daughter. As we began working together, she realized that these 3 months business is the number one priority, but the other 9 months is all the time that she gets to spend and prioritize her daughter. So she made it a point this year to make sure that she was spending loads of time with her daughter and really being present in each one of those times and moments so that when these 3 months came in, she didn't feel that guilt and shame for not being with her daughter 24/7. Tip number 3, create a resourceful mindset. Lady, you have everything that you need inside of you. And oftentimes when we're trying to manage all the things, we forget that we have the ability to take care of it all. We can do it all. And it's about figuring out how to put all the pieces together so that we can show up and be fully present when we need to be present for who we need to be present for. And sometimes that's ourselves. So creating a resourceful mindset is figuring out how to do all of the things and making sure that everything is getting done as it needs to get done, but we're not losing our focus and our priority. Tip number 4, expect the unexpected. Yes, there are going to be times where things aren't going to go as planned, where you think you found your rhythm and bam, something new comes into play and that rhythm is completely thrown out the door and something new steps in. This is when we adjust. This is why it's important to have that resourceful mindset where we can tap in and say, okay, what is the new priority? And maybe that priority is only for a week or so, right? It might be that you have family coming into town that's going to be there for a week. And so your priorities might shift for that week because they're there. It's knowing what our priority is that allows us to know that this is only temporary, that this is only for this time, and we don't feel that shame or that guilt or that frustration that we aren't involved in these other areas. I'm not saying that we're completely ignoring them because we're not, but it is not the number one priority at this time. Tip number 5, maintain a positive mental attitude. Now, I was lucky that growing up, my mom instilled in me optimism. I'm very optimistic about everything, and I always try to see the good in everything. And one of the things that I know that it has helped me do is that when there's times where, even when I was depressed and I didn't feel like going out and doing anything, and I just didn't feel like myself, and all I wanted to do was stay in bed and pull the covers over my head, I still had a sense that it would get better, that things would work out, and that I would get myself out of this. And I think having that mental attitude completely helped me step out slowly out of that state and get into a place where I could then begin to start to work on myself and really discover more about why that was going on, and what my body was really trying to tell me. But I know that having that mental attitude, that very positive mental attitude, helped me move forward. And so when things get chaotic, because they will, when the chaos happens, when we have that resourceful mindset, when we have that positive mental attitude, when we know that the unexpected is going to happen, we can move through it because we know what our priorities are, and we are making sure that we are feeding our souls. If you have learned one thing in today's video, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe as new videos are released every week. We have a new live hypnosis on Wednesday, and then a life lesson video just like this every week as well. Be sure and check out this week's hypnosis, which is Hypnosis for a Balanced Life. You can find that here. Be sure to come on over and join the community over on Instagram, where we dive deeper into these topics every day. My final thoughts: take one step at a time. See what your rhythm is, see what your priorities are, see how you can nurture yourself. Pick one of those things and start working towards it today. Remember, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and find